Hey, it's Friday. A quick clip. I want to talk a little bit about the market and why I think the market's going to go up. I'm having conversations with a lot of people, of course, every day. And a lot of people are even investors. So here's the conversation we're having. The market is likely to go up. And so if you're waiting and thinking, well, I'll wait for a better time, I'll wait for the prices to drop, I'll wait for the interest rates to come down, and I'm watching the market. Well, let me tell you, if you watch, you'll probably be too late. The reason is that the situation we're in is that we have an undersupply of property. And it's such a unique situation we're in. I've never seen it like this before, where we have competing offers for $500,000 homes in our Calgary market, even with 7% interest rates and high interest rates. That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm sure you probably agree. And I've never seen this happen before either. What we do have is an undersupply of property. That's the truth. So when people say that the market's got to drop, I say, well, okay, the market generally drops. It's a supply and demand situation. What would cause the supply to go up? That's the question. Because whether or not people are buying or renting, we have the people here. We have a large amount of immigrants that came to our country and now they're looking for a place to live. And the government is even paying some of their lodging, their housing costs, which is driving the costs of rental up. Okay, you probably realize this already. That's why investors are jumping in and buying property. So I'll ask again, what would cause an increase in the amount of supply? Now, even if people are forced to sell because of high interest rates, they're not going to live in tents. They're not going to disappear. They either become renters or they buy less expensive homes. In this market, they can sell and they can move to less expensive homes. That's a lot of what's going on as well. So people who don't qualify for the property that they want may buy a lower price property. Okay, so let's get into the second reason. I know they're going to drop rates, and we don't know when. They're going to drop the rates because the bank is tipping their hand to us already. They're offering some of my clients lower interest rates if they lock in their mortgage rate. When have you ever seen that before? I mean, that doesn't happen. Generally speaking, the floating rate is lower, and because of the proposition of the rates going up, they give you a better deal if if you take the floating rate compared to the fixed. But now they're doing the opposite. They're giving you a better rate if you lock in. That doesn't make any sense. But it makes sense to me because I saw NMAX last year sent a letter on my desk I got from NMAX saying they would give me almost a 30% discount if I locked in for 5 years and I would reduce my rates. Well, today the energy rates are almost half of what they were last fall. So if you had locked in and taken that 5 year deal, you're locked in for 5 years at a higher rate and they sealed in a higher profit. It's exactly what they're trying to do. It's exactly what the bank's trying to do right now. Trying to get people to lock in so that they're in for a longer period of time. Now, when they drop the rates, and we know they probably will, the second thing that's going to happen here is that the property value is going to shoot up even higher. The reason why they're going to shoot up is because we don't have enough property. We've already said that, right? So once the money supply becomes, people can qualify for a little bit more and they see the rates coming down, what's going to happen next is they're going to run out and buy and create even more scarcity. Now, if you say, okay, there's going to be new property coming from where? Well, it's got to come from builders, really. We need to build more homes. So how is that going to happen? Of course, right now, the builders are charging more than they ever did. A home 2 years ago that they were building, a front drive home 2 years ago, was about 550 brand new in a new community. Now that home is 680,000 minimum for the same style of home. So the problem is the cost of building homes has gone up. There's no way to stop that. So the situation is that what we're going to see is we're going to see that, well, of course, the pre-owned properties have gone up in price, right? They've already done that as relative to buying new. So we don't have a way of reducing the labor cost of building houses, nor carbon taxes and everything else, which are causing inflation. They're causing the cost of materials that are driving down the road to go up in price, which is building materials and everything else that goes into building a home. So I don't see any way that they're going to build properties cheaper. That's just not going to happen. And I don't see that they're going to be able to increase inventory to a large degree. Now, our city has this idea that they want to stop urban sprawl. This is what their sustainable development goals are is not to build as much in the newer areas. So they've really slowed down on the permits from what I can see on building new property. So that's creating the expense of the properties as well. So they had an emergency meeting about 2 to 3 weeks ago, said, well, how are we going to get more housing? Well, I think they're going to do something to put in secondary suites, and they're going to make it easier. But that doesn't mean that the housing prices are going to go down. I think that the housing prices are definitely going to go up for the reasons I'm saying. And I've been in this business now for 23 years, and so I can tell you honestly that you know that the past doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And when we have a low inventory, combined with the fact that we're one of the lower priced markets in Canada, people are investing here in Calgary, especially. They're bringing their money here just to buy investment properties. I would say that if you're not an owner, I fear for you, because as a non-owner, you are going to miss out on the next move. And if you miss out on the next move, you might miss out on $50,000 or more. Now, I would suggest maybe not waiting for your forever home. Maybe you get into something that you can sit in until you can get some more money together. So in other words, if you buy a property that is your first property and you just get into a property and it moves up $50,000, that's $50,000 you can put into the home when you sell to get your next one, the one you really want. But if you wait and try to get that right property and try to save the money, it'll be pushed away from you again. And I hate to see that for people, because what will happen is that they just won't be able to get into that forever home that they wanted. So my suggestion to you is get into something so that you can ride this wave and then get out of it, and then have some equity to put into the next one you really want. Have a great weekend, guys, and we'll talk soon.